bank for them, baby. 2-0 and going on to Swiss stage up against Ninjas in Pajamas. I mean, even if they get sent home in Swiss stage, that would be the happiest plane ride.
It would. It would. That would be so, so fun. And Copenhagen saw...
That's where you just start drinking at the first airport, right?
Literally, yeah. I mean, Copenhagen saw so many teams from regions like Japan, like OS, going out so early. I mean, the only ones were the Revan from LATAM, and of course, Falcons from MENA, but there weren't a whole lot of Japanese teams, aside from Scars Auto Qualified, that had that chance, from Korea that had that chance. Crest could really be one of the first true from the Japanese region that aren't just Scars to make it through to that Swiss stage. And maybe they don't win. Again, maybe they don't make it far, but just to make it, just to be in that same conversation as teams like Falcons, that's what all of this is about.
Dude, you're giving me that energy right now, Carter. You're giving me that, the reason I love esports, you know what I mean? It's anybody's game any day of the week, and that's why we play the games, man. You never know what's going to happen. Somebody's always on the come up, and somebody's always on the come down. And it seems like history might have finally caught up to the NIP organization in Rainbow Six Siege. They were dominant for a very long time, and we've been slowly seeing them degrade, but it looks like this might be the nail in the coffin.
No,
potentially.
Just, I mean, Copenhagen, top 8, just a little bit of a recovery. And even then, lost 7-3 to 6 Karma on the first day. They still were able to not only come back that event, but make a claim, a reclamation for that reputation that they had in 2020, in 2021, the year they won SI. But as you said, the downfall since then, this was supposed to be the comeback. This was supposed to be their group.
Yeah.
This was one, I'm seeing
the easiest group.
I'm seeing on Twitter people being like, did Brazil rig the draw? Because how did NIP get this group? This was supposed to not even be a conversation. This match was supposed to be over, and we find ourselves on bank. Crest pick, when they have the advantage in the series, they have the leeway to make mistakes. Op bans have just gone through, by the way. We didn't even mention that. Osa Solus from Crest. Solus, very logical ban on bank, specifically to counter that vertical play through the floor. And from NIP, they don't ban that Ying. They don't ban it, interestingly enough. We saw it on bank, of course, but it's an operator they are very hesitant to leave up for their opponents.
Disgusting character. It really is. Ying, one of my favorites, and has been ever since she was released. She is incredibly good at execution. And also you have the T95 LMG as well, which is just such an insane gun, right? Really good rate of fire and just really solid overall. Don't really have to worry too much about it. So with that being said, though, Ninjas in Pajamas now set up to try and find some success here on bank. But like you said, this is going to require some heavy lifting from Crest, especially on this defensive end, and I think we're already seeing some things that you enjoy.
We are, and I'm very happy to see this open area hatch open. It's a very simple thing, but given Crest's insistence on playing things more conservative, playing things closer to the chest, to see them on their map pick say, no, bank necessitates a little bit of a roam. We're not going to see that inexperience at this moment, at least strategically speaking. That inexperience will not rear its head yet. Also, look at these Vault cameras from Lua placed inside of Janitor, aimed to find NIP attackers as they move in through that top floor. And look at how many players are stationed around the middle. And if they remember that Geeke game, they'll know Pino is always in CEO with this box.
Yep. Yep, they most definitely will. And that's the thing about bank, right, is it's kind of a one-size-fits-all clear. We were kind of talking about that with another map earlier on. I can't remember what the heck we were referencing. Oh, I think it was Oregon. No, it was Villa. We were talking about Villa. And Muzi actually is going to take down Tiopi. They're looking to try and gun through this clear. You can see the drone game working out very well, too, as they've got a complete read on where this Valkyrie is. She's going to try and turn a Diamond Fire back, but it's actually going to be Zero that goes down. And have we awoken the beast? We'll have to find out here. I definitely do not want to call it too early, but this is the most active I've seen NIP this entire tournament.
Have we seen an NIP round at their behest come down to a 4v1 this early? We might very well, or Crest might very well, have awoken the Ninjas in Pajamas. Only round 1, but a complete heel turn by NIP from cowardly at times to insistent on map control.
I just want to, like, were you trolling us? I'm just messing around. No. We're going to require a couple more rounds for me to really agree with the fact that NIP is doing something here, because honestly, that could have just banked on the fact that they got 2 big picks on Crest. We're like, all right, we can probably just collapse in this roam and see what happens, and they were able to clean things up that way. Really hard to tell so early on and with such a small sample size, so we'll see how things continue to go on bank, but this is going to elicit an immediate line change from Crest. They're going to send this into the mid floor and bring some other tidbits of utility to try and lock things down here in open area.
I think the switch to the Fenrir is a direct response to what Muzi did last round. He just stormed on into Tellers, carved out a hole inside of Tellers and Archives that then made the rest of the roam completely unplayable, all within the first 45 seconds. But if you have that Fenrir, you have those F-Knots on the doorways, Nip have to either, well, they'll either get punished for doing the same play, or they'll need to use that Brava, as Twitch is banned by NIP.
Yep.
They would have to use that Brava to hack those F-Knots or use explosive utility to deal with it. So I really like that adaptation by Eclair. When they go back to lockers later on, I expect he'll be there as well.
Yeah, most definitely. A solid lineup across the board. You know, I really like what we're seeing here, especially with Lua bringing that Warden in just to make sure that execute utility isn't as pivotal for Nip in certain scenarios. But could obviously end up getting picked early on here if he ends up going for the improper thing. But Ninjas in Pajamas, we know their tendency to be slow about things. This is going to be about this opener and how they handle the aggression from Nip initially. We're going to have Pino up top on these windows. He's going to be in line with Psychos. They're looking to address things here on the far side.
Pino also going about this soft destruction far more safer than he has before. I think he recognized it and remembers the Geekay game, where he was very often countered on Bucker, couldn't find anything. The boogies are a much safer option to achieve a very similar result. He's still got to worry about Lua, though, very eagerly taking a fight with Pino on that window outside of the CEO position. Boogie's going out, trying their best. Ooh, unfortunate right there. Caught on the chair. That's sometimes the downside of Siege. There's so many furniture, so many objects, a gadget can get caught like that. And that will, unfortunately, deny probably a wide swath of soft destruction that NIP were looking for. A lot of Crest defenders up top. A lot of big NIP players moving in to take these fights. Candela's going out. Wizard gets the first pick. That's 2 now for NIP. Candela for the follow-up on the player inside of Electrical. Whiskey holding it down. Will need to back off down that hatch. Very quick roam clear from NIP. They are so dedicated to this shift, and at the moment, it is working out very well.
A bomb has been located.
Well, the thing that we were talking about earlier came to fruition, didn't it? So Lua's down. Gonna really have to worry about this last Candela, as it will stun everyone in its vicinity. Hopefully Zero can get that thing caught up in a disc later on down the line. But a lot of destruction being done by the boogie drones as they're ripping up all of this flooring, making it a lot more difficult to rotate around that base floor. Ninjas in Pajamas resting back on the info game, but why not? Things are working out pretty solid for them so far. They'll get a decent read on the player over inside of E2 Elevator, and more than likely start looking to transition this to the mid-floor soon.
Now this is the time when you've got that 5v4 that the patience from NIP actually ends up paying off, because with an advantage when it's not just a 5v5, you can afford to take that time, but then you have the advantage to play trades, to work players out of positions without it just being basically a coin flip as who ends up winning. Candela caught by a Candela, or caught by a Magnet, excuse me, but Psycho still knows he can blind them. C4 flies out, but it's on the wrong side of the desk. Wizard picks up Tiopi. Man advantage retained by NIP as they can keep playing these trades. They'll only be favored. Crest need to overperform. Somebody's got to go big. It all falls onto Whiskey, but NIP seem revitalized after the break, moving into map 2. Full control of open area at this point. Pino will just put the bomb down merely to force a rotation out from Whiskey. Do his due diligence. There's no shot this mute gets this one.
Well, so far so good for Ninjas in Pajamas, and yeah, I'm in the exact same boat as you are, my friend, and Pino will make sure that that comes true too. Ninjas in Pajamas 2-0 right now, but here's the key thing. What happened on Chalet? Ninjas in Pajamas up first. Some adjustments we could see out of Crest. We'll have to just see what's going on. Looks like we need some admin assistance here for just a split second. Don't know if it's game audio or what, but they're trying to get things figured out. So we'll let you know what the admin call is here momentarily. But as of right now, this is looking like the traditional Ninjas in Pajamas that we're used to, right? This is looking like them doing the most with the round that is ahead of them. And instead of just sitting there and trying to get every bit of info under their belt and dwindling down their time to make it to where they really just can't make mistakes, they've instead started lunging, especially in that first round, to try and get some of these earlier picks, and obviously in that second round, making it to where they could go back to that same well, use that info game past that first pick, really assist themselves with understanding conceptually what was going on that mid-floor.
It's pretty ironic that the quicker NIP attacks actually come on the far larger map, Bank. I mean, they were stalling out so much time on Chalet and on Bank. I think maybe they're just recognizing we're not clearing the whole map. We just need to clear positions one at a time.
That's what we were talking about, right?
And that's and you're making that bite-sized. You're making it a lot easier to wrap your head around and making it a lot easier to process and make decisions. And sure, yeah, NIP had very dominant 4-0 start, but these attacks, if they were the problem on Chalet and Bank being just a whole different beast entirely, NIP is still looking like you can't count them out just yet.
Yeah, most definitely. I absolutely have to agree with you because the key thing that you said in your statement there, or at least for me, is the fact that they're making things into bite-sized pieces. And on top of that, I think that they're also going for the things that are warranted, right? They're not trying to get the whole cake. They're just going for those little slices that they actually need to get their play to go off. And that's what was so frustrating for me on Chalet. We don't need this whole map, guys. We just need the portions of the map that are pivotal to our strategy. And that's what we're seeing here on Bank. It's working swimmingly.
2 sites now, 1 for NIP. They've taken down lockers and open area. We saw a rotation from Crest where instead of trying to play that site a second time, they immediately rotated. I don't think they will just suddenly go back to lockers or try open area again. With how dominant these rounds have been, they will do their best to win on another bomb site, and they'll do that very thing. Move up to CEO, then use the next 3 rounds after this to fix whatever mistakes they find necessary. For NIP, I'm not going to mention it. I got excited by the lineup. I'm not going to jinx it.
Don't say it.
Not going to do it. Instead, I'll talk about Crest because we know their operators are solid. You got the Castle. That's always going to be there. The Warden, always going to be there. But Crest leaning into their strength on Chalet. At least in certain rounds, it was the insight intelligence. And Lua on that Maestro. If a bomb goes down, we won't say how just yet. We'll wait for NIP to confirm their operators. But if it goes down, that Maestro, should those Evil Eyes remain alive, be very helpful.
There it
we have an
is.
Amaru and a Glass on the board, Sam.
I'm so very excited, Carter. I'm giddy about this one, and I'll tell you why. It's really because of Muzi. You know, when you see smokes in play, you know, and all that kind of stuff building up for Glass, that's all great, well and good. But when you see Amaru, that just dictates that things are going to go very quickly. And yeah, I can see the body language too. TOB's looking to hop out. I don't know how long Psycho's going to last here. We'll have, are they both going to hop out on both ends? No? Wait, really?
What?
What? Okay. All right. That's a thing. That happened. What the hell was that?
Huh?
The math ain't mathin'. The math is not mathin'.
Well, I mean, NIP, they've got to execute here. I mean, that's 4v5. You still got to worry about the Evil Eyes, but the smoke canisters can go out. The Glass can hold these angles. Muzi doesn't even have the diffuser. That's cons. Muzi probably just going to fly up a hatch or through a window. Oh, Tiopi, though, he rotates off. He ends up making the smart play, but the Glass counters him. Now 4v3, but for Crest, the diffuser's in sight. So Psycho will have to fall off the window and fall to Eclair. Muzi needs to open this up on the backside. The rest of his team is stuck outside these windows, and he's caught completely by Whiskey. This round seemed destined for NIP after that failed hop out by Lua, I should say. But now as Wizard rotates, Pino will pause outside of Electrical. No, push further. Will Sirenet go spot him? Just a little bit too far above Gridlock, hiding behind that shield. Smart reset. Wizard with the drone won't spot anything. A pre-fire will just barely tag Sireneko, but he knows the Gridlock's in the hallway. First engagement doesn't work. The flash is all missed, though. They fly on in. Sireneko lands it. Pino now falls. Wizard 2! Crest somehow pick up their first round, but one they had no business winning. That
was curious. That was very curious there. But it does go to show you just how effective Warden can be. Even if he goes for one, if he gets the proper person, things can definitely go awry, especially on a setup like this where you are mostly dedicated to those north windows and you have to swing in to get the case now. Things are going to be really problematic, and it was very unfortunate for Ninjas in Pajamas. You got to feel for Muzi especially. Just had to do so much heavy lifting over on the far side, and apparently something happening over on the B stream.
Yes.
So
if you are not aware, we obviously have 2 games going on at once. CAG Bleed. CAG are currently up 1-0 in the series. I don't have the exact score on map 2, but CAG won their first map, which complete opposite of when these teams last met earlier in the play-ins. Bleed dominantly defeating CAG on their map. Now they are 1-0. Of course, Crest 1-0 in the series as well. With that run-up from Lua, I was like, oh, this round is not going to go well, is it? And even here with Psycho doming him through the chair, too. This didn't work, but Whiskey, this is the player, or this is the kill that really did it, because it was a 3v3, finding Muzi on that backside. That brought the round back from, okay, favoring NIP close to 50-50. That brought it to Crest. You can take this.
Yeah. Yep. I don't think it was a bad call from Nip to honestly go for that execution. They got the big pick there and were able to set things up. But, I mean, the major problem is that they really didn't have the oversight there.
No,
we had
Warden,
the
man.
Yeah, the Warden's there, but the key thing is that Glass was a little late to the party. He didn't have that other angle on the other window, so you have your Ying swinging in, and he's trying to hold that right door, but not the panels over on the far side. But that's the thing, right? Split decision making. You got to choose one or the other. You can't have both. So, unfortunately, chooses wrong, and Nip will end up letting that one slip through their fingers. And this might be the start of something here for Crest. This is why we didn't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here for Nip's sake, as we want to see what Crest can do with their audibles.
Don't see the 3-body stack inside of Archives this time. Still some roamers, but they're more focused in open area. There is no Fenrir like I thought there might be, but the fact that there's nobody concentrated in that one small room. Muzi can't just sprint in like he did before. There's plenty of intel being gathered by NAP on these positions. The top of that wall, actually all of that wall, soft completely. Candelas fly in. Crest might very well have to start retreating a little bit, and they completely give it up, actually. Minute 10 wasted. That's perfectly fine. Maybe you could have gone for more, but with the utility flying in, perfectly understandable decision by Crest. But with that hatch open, NIP now have a lot of utility in their pockets. A lot of those Candelas, the hatch already open. Not that much work to be done with the time they've got.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When does the rest of Nip show up to the party? That's the real question.
It's a fair question.
Because that's when we've been seeing them make their errors, is they'll have map control, they'll have these things under their umbrella, but they don't utilize them in the way that you normally would. But I will say, obviously, Bank has been a different story for them on this offensive perspective. They've been doing a really good job of setting themselves up for success. Even in round 3, they lost it. I still agree with the way that they went about things. So, could be the same here for round 4. As you said, the hatch is already open, so don't really have to concern themselves too highly with that. They'll continue trying to break up some floorboards and other things along those lines, but not really too much to be said as of right now as we go into the last minute.
The advantage of Crest with the lineup that they have is rotating after a minute 10 seconds. These Goyos inside of the site. The Twitch is banned, so in order for these to blow up, they have to either be shot by the attack, shot by the defense, blown up even. So a lot of time can be wasted by Crest. There is no smoke though. So a lot of front-loaded denial.
Sub 30.
Yep, sub 30. The backup, those Yokais, the C4s, they need to land. Big pickup by Lua as they drop down into the site. Cons pushes forward, now goes for the plant, but Lua, that Warden going so huge. Whiskey Goomba Stomp Psycho as he vaults over from the red hallway, but the bomb goes down safely. Cons sticks that into chaos, but it's a 1v4 now. This is a very difficult one for Pino to win. He's got the top floor, but there's so many angles going his way. He's backed off, shut down Lua, so he's safe on the top floor, but he can't get to Eclair in time. He's sprinting over, but he gets stoned by Sireneko. The heads-up play, the wall rips open, but Sireneko's just a little quicker on that reaction. All tied up.
He's got a fairly godparent just right there holding him down, dude. Incredible stuff out of Crest. What a cover. And it goes back to kind of the strategy that we were talking about with their setup for, Master and Office upstairs on Chalet. We see another pivotal and perfect setup for Crest in the way that ninjas in pajamas go about things. I didn't want to say this. I was about to, but I was like, yo, you want to make a bet right now? Bet you a drink this evening that they don't execute until sub 30, and that's exactly what happened. I should have said it.
But to be fair there, I mean, NIP, was it as quick as the Blitz in round 1? No, it was slower than that, but it was still a decent pace. They get open area control.
They get the plant down too.
Yeah, and they get the bomb down too. Credit to Cons for sticking that despite the chaos happening around him, but that was ultimately, that wasn't even NIP being overly slow. That really was Crest setup. The Goyos, the Miras, the C4s, the Yokais was all built for that plant denial. And the problem with Locker's attacks sometimes is even if you are going at a timely manner, you can just stack so much utility on that server doorway that if the attack goes for a take on that side or inside of Lockers or CCTV, it's just so difficult to make work sometimes.
Yeah. For sure, you are right on, my boy. For sure, you are right on. Now, I will say this as well for Nip. Thankfully, they did end up going for the execute right when they were able to get everybody in position, and obviously that was one of the highlights as well that I had been talking about. So happy that Nip obviously ended up going for things. So good on them, able to get the case down and at least have an attempt here. But now 2-2, and Crest starting to make a case that they have some potential to take Bank and make this a 2-0, which if you shook me awake at 4 in the morning and asked that, Stokes, what the hell would have happened in this series, and I've been like, you are smoking something. I don't know what it is, but man, wow.
Just a great showing so far. Crest can be proud of their performance.
Dude,
on that one
it's
alone.
every
Again.
time with the dang couches.
I know it's. I mean, it's a little difficult from throwing it outside that window because of the way like the center column between the double windows is aligned, the placement of the couches. But that's 2 boogies now between these 2 rounds that Pino has lost to the top floor, and it's basically resulted in that segment of the top floor not being open because he dedicates them to different rooms. But still, the clear up top, it worked well. Cons, they know there's someone in the vertical.
Do they know about the secondary measure, the third measure as well? There's one over in Checkers. I think that's Valkyrie over inside of the connecting area. Might have a drop off here. That shotgun's gonna be really deadly.
Oh, he's so
Cons.
close.
He's so very close. He goes for the flick down, but he just doesn't have the trigger. The M590 just a tad bit quicker. And now a flank out, and he gets it as well, and it's on Muzi, of all people. He rarely loses situations like that, especially when he's rifle on. He loses it entirely, and Nip, they're falling to pieces. Lua's up here. Lua just needs to hit the deck and play time. Minute and 10 seconds remaining. If he can just be a thorn in the side of Pino, this will be so distracting to Nip, but they've got the counter angle from outside on the far windows here. Wizard will be able to save their bacon and make things a little bit more difficult for Crest.
Wizard's on the position he needed to be because Crest, I mean, Cyrenaica probably should not have hit that flank, but he gets away with it, makes it a 5v3, but there's still the aggressive Thorn inside of Banana, and well, ends up falling. Cyrenaica also on low HP. This could very well be a 3v3 for NIP if they find that Valkyrie. But Pino and Psycho, so low HP. Wizard even now damaged. No one on NIP with full HP. Tiopi on the doorway. That leads to this hatch, so if Psycho drops, he'll get the sound cue. Somebody from NIP, maybe it's Wizard 4 and 2, or maybe Pino, somebody has got to overperform. Wizard almost has an angle on that player down
20
below
seconds.
Sam. I know. The sub 20 execute. Can you believe it? Pino.
Oh.
There they have it. Whiskey gets 1. Psycho cut down. 1v3. Lead taken now by Crest, Sam. I'm not calling it. It's too soon. But NIP up 2-0. And another comeback. Now turning into a lead.
Don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years. Now you're in Steel of Fear. Ninjas in Pajamas and Psycho. Yeah, you can see it on their face,
right
man.
now.
I'll just let it speak for itself. Look at that camera, folks. Ninjas in Pajamas. They're disgruntled right now, and you should be. Things are not going the way that they should. They are not going the way that are practiced and preached by Ninjas in Pajamas. And this is what I was worried about. Once Crest starts feeling themselves, starts understanding how Nip wants to play the map, they've been doing a very solid job of addressing a lot of these different things around the area. And the one thing I will say about this, Carter, although some of these pushes aren't the greatest idea from Crest, they have the confidence, and they also have the mechanical ability to make these moments happen, where usually it's Nip, you know, being the ones that make these shocking moments. One of the most shocking moments I've ever watched in Rainbow Six Siege is because of freaking Muzi dropping down Oil Pit and fading Rampy on the drop like he's Kobe Bryant.
I hate to fact check.
Wait, who is it?
That was Pino.
Pino, thank you. Man, thank you. I'm glad that you're here. That was good. That was good. Dude, I do that all the time. I'm such a faces person. I just like, boop, boop. Anyways, still, this roster, it just goes to show. They have always been one of those teams that will shock you with really big plays like what we saw. But right now, it's Crest that is taking that mantle.
And they retooled after that SI 2021 winning roster started to devolve into inconsistency or consistently poor performances. They brought on Wizard, waited a little bit, brought on Cons to try to fix things. It worked in Copenhagen, but against Crest.
Cons is 0-5 in this game, by the way.
know.
This is like such an outlier for him in this tournament. He was the heartbeat of this team yesterday.
He was. Another Cade going out. Something's not working for NIP and something's in the air for Crest. Something only happens in big events like this. The Cade Claw tricking is working so well, but finally the timing doesn't work. And the Electric Claw destroyed as well. Whiskey's got one in pocket, but he'll have to back off the elevator position. Can he make it back in time? Yes, he can. Lua knows somebody's on the window. Oh, just sees him for a second. That's such a dangerous engagement to take. Lua's got to be picky with those engagements he chooses because Wizard will be there and Wizard will remain. And he's having a much better performance than he did yesterday.
Yes, most definitely. He is gun on right now. They have a bead on the player here inside of elevator. Eclair will go down as I do believe there was a couple of different angles being utilized against him right there. But either way, that is going to be the body going the way of Ninjas in Pajamas. And decent time, I would say. Although this top floor setup still alive and well for Crest. A lot of holes as well too, and Cons is going to try and exploit that to the nth degree. So move the Monty up top, but nobody really in tow minus the window player over here.
Oh, Lua, what are you doing? Hello?
Okay. I mean, yeah, genuinely, like they really had to go for something eventually and go for these swings, try and get some kills under their belt, but it's not really going to work out for them. Ninjas in Pajamas do a much better job of addressing the top floor. Instead of going for the north windows and trying to play through it that way, they go for the main lobby. And wouldn't you know it, Nip plays the map from the outside of the building while they have an active Monty moving his way up the red stairs.
Yeah, Monty meant to make space, and Wizard meant to find anyone that's displaced as a result. I know Lua needed to do something.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. But he still walks in front of the main lobby Repel that he knew was there. He saw Wizard moving around that area. It's don't take an engagement. Take a smart engagement.
Yep. Hey, man, I've been going off. You deserve yours as well because you're absolutely 100% correct. And that's the thing. You got to keep people true and honest about the decision making that they're making. You know, these are professional players, and that's what we expect.
But the worrying thing is it's only 3-3, right? If you're a Crest fan, you're thinking, all right, you know, that's fine, even half. Moving on to Bank attack.
Low-key great defensive half on Bank.
Yeah, great defensive half on Bank. But now NIP, after round 5, faces sullen, worried, concerned. Now you've given them a round where they feel that things are a lot better, and they're moving into a fresh start on their defenses. So you've given them a bit of momentum to work with now in this half, when maybe had you held back, would be a little different. Crest, will you do it?
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Lua, my boy. We're going to be playing some Blitz, and not only that, we're going to back it up with so much solid utility for a Blitz play, it'll make your head spin. We got smokes, we got EE1Ds. If this guy is flying high right now, I was going to say, we just like pan out, we see Lua just Mach 8 flying through the map. But no, they're going to try and build this up for Blue, actually. I think they might try and handle Wizard here or something along those lines, but the laser gates here, and that's the big issue. They're going to have to try and burn these before. Are they just going to, no, they're going to EMP it. He flies down. Pino doesn't get stunned. Pino's dead. Pistol out. They're going to chase down the Goyo, too. He's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place now, too, as I don't think there's a rotation on the far side. No. Wizard now stuck inside of server, and he's got to deal with Blitz.
But look at the rotations from NIP. They know that Lua can't really take that long angle engagement. He might want to push in, so Muzi plays close. So the progress forward is now cut off. Lua slowly pressured. They got that first pick, but in terms of actionable control, there's not a whole lot from Crest at the moment, but they've trapped Wizard in here. If Lua can just remain in this spot, he can try his best to cut off the Goyo's rotation back. But Crest, if they wanted a quick execute, if they wanted a quick W in round 7, it's not going to happen now. It's going to be slower. Muzi and Wizard will hold this, and in a 2v1 against a Blitz, they will certainly win it.
Honestly, this is such a boon for them. They get Lua all the way down blue. They kill Pino, of all people, on smoke.
Server control.
Yep. You got the Goyo still in play to deal with, but you have the tools to try and go about this. Really, you can, try and get them with some Gone 6s or through other means. I mean, more than likely, Nip would be popping these pretty soon, too, if they start to see Lua show face in here. But we'll just have to see. Crest has got to flirt with this just a little bit to start seeing how Nip are actually going to try and fight back.
Unfortunately, with the loss of that Twitch, the main way to clear those Goyos in advance without allowing the defense to pop them is with frag grenades. But again, Crest picked a lineup that don't have any. And without that Twitch, playing at the defense's pace. Only 50 seconds left, so NIP
Here we go.
can detonate those Vulcans. They can waste more time. There's no smoke, but there are C4s as well. Just one in the hands of Psycho, but now Lua pushes in, pushes past the Vulcan, but he's low HP. Dome through the smoke. Cons picks up 2. Whiskey putting the bomb down, but advantage now gained by NIP. C4 goes out. They know it's close. They've got it red completely. So promising for Crest at the start of round 7. Maybe there's still some gas in the tank. Psycho cut down. Tiopi's recovered the diffuser, but it's only Sireneko to cover. Flashbang now goes out, holding the plant all the way inside of gold. Sireneko finds himself, but now he loses Tiopi. He's got to take this fight with the Fenrir. So many bullets on the pre-fire, but he still wins it with the Bailiff. NIP just hold on, keep their composure after the loss of Pino.
Young is turning in his grave right now, I can tell you that. Wish that was his Bailiff back in the day. Would have ended up winning him Milan, for those of you that did not know. But Ninjas in Pajamas get things done. A little messy on the execute there. Really coming down to the Blitz as well as the player dropping from the hatch kind of eclipsing each other and getting smoked by cons with that EBR. So much damage pours out from that gun. You really just need 1 or 2 shots, and somebody is definitely feeling your wrath. But that's going to be it there for Crest's first offense. I mean, honestly, it built up well, but there it is. I mean, just that perfect shot from Cons as well onto Lua through Cons' head as well. Just caught him right in the shoulder. But it was 1 bullet with that collat. Don't see that one every day.
No, and NIP had that exact execute countered. Cons, of course, on that angle, but also C4 recognizing that, oh, we need to C4 close, not C4 far in server, once they saw that hatch drop. So overall, good reactions from NIP to what execute Crest were going for and the tools they needed to counter it. So now NIP, after winning the basement, move all the way to the opposite side, vertically speaking, of Bank. How will Crest deal with this? Not like the Amaru we saw from NIP, not the Glass, but with that Monty, it's gotta be from the main stairs. It's
gotta be, right? You never really see it coming from square. Monty kinda has a difficult time sometimes when it comes to the janitor area, depending on the positioning. Like if you don't have somebody on north windows to play counter angles or something like that, you can run into some problems. But you can see this, honestly, might be a position that we might actually see Lua push, because they're gonna put the Mira in here. So they could actually just have Lua clear that out too. So actually, this is gonna be pretty wide as to the way that they can apply themselves to this overall setup.
At least right now, Lua is definitely concerned with that lobby side, but if they do take care of that stock shield, yeah, no, that's the default position to play, but if they do take care of that stock shield with that Mira, he could very easily apply pressure to that Mira playing that position if Crest were to take control of the vending hallway. But right now, the Hibana, the Monty, or more specifically, or more broadly, ranged hard breach and Monty. It's the combination for the spiral side.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the key thing about this top floor site. And the first step for, it doesn't matter. Your ranked game should have this step. You break that wall.
Always.
You should break elevator wall. And if you're not breaking elevator wall, you're trolling. That's what you're doing. Because that angle is just so good, man. It shuts down everything. Very unfortunate there with the EMPs. They get it this time, though. Does Wizard get the shuffle? I think he got it. We're about to see.
He's got to. Yep, that's easy. Done. Boom.
Easy. And I do believe that's the secondary EMP out too, so very unfortunate. And now Crest are in a really, really bad spot for this top clear, because a lot of that stock vending hallway is free.
But here is that interesting position. Is that hallway free? They can't hold the long angle in main lobby, but if they do go for that rotate, they still got the utility to deal with that stock shield.
Yes, they do.
They could still cut it off just from a different position and far less safe for the attack.
Oh, but they're not doing it on good timing right now. That's the problem.
Minute 10, yeah. The rotate's just not happening at this point.
Yeah, the decision's not being made. You can definitely tell that this is more than likely their setup in general. This is what they go for. Pino's going to take quite a bit of damage. I think that was from a frag grenade at a zero. Now they're going to start pushing up Blue. Impacts out. Lou's got so much damage dealt to him. They're trying to swing in on him. He's very low on HP, so I'm surprised he went for it in that regard, but it's going to be 2 kills going the way of the green as Ninjas in Pajamas bodying Crest initially, but Crest fire back. 45 seconds remaining. This is still doable, especially with Tiopi here on Banana. He's got someone directly to his left, and Pino on very low HP. There's a lot to be said still in this round.
All quiet. Just holding. Tiopi finally goes for a swing. Gotta pick the diffuser back up to keep all their options open. One playing close. He's so focused. Oh, the Warden now turns. Tiopi doesn't check, or Claire doesn't check it, but Tiopi gets the trade. The single player from Crest, who's kept them alive in round 18, now pushes forward, but he's got to be the one to put the bomb down. Siron Echo needs to cover. Is he inside the building? Yes, he is, but he misses the Echo. Cross completely. NIP widen their lead even further, holding on to CEO.
Very well done from Nip there to keep their patience and force them to try and get the objective down. And that's where they're able to capitalize on things. Zofia sticks it, able to not only pick up that kill, but also transition that into the last Crest player over on the quad windows. Crest getting completely thwarted on their initial game plan, getting that elevator hall open, but still somehow, some way, able to get some pretty impactful kills that led us down to a clutch situation from Ninjas in Pajamas.
I might be wrong. I just checked real quick. I think if NIP were to win this, this would be our first 3-map series of Atlanta as well. I think, because I think all the best threes yesterday, I think were 2-0s.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could be. As well as, actually, I do know this confirmed. If NIP wins this series, both the MENA teams are going to SI.
Well, that's a little interesting. Tidbet, Falcons, and Geekay would both make it. I'm sure they'd be very happy about that. Just as NIP would be happy in this series to push it to that map 3 to get to that skyscraper position, kept them alive. Got to give credit to, of course, the mentality on Crest as well. Even though they're losing these rounds, even though they're in that big position, still staying positive, smiles on their faces, mentally invested in what's going on. But NIP have recovered on those attacks, and sure, the defense has been close, specifically TOP, but NIP definitely keeping the lead on these defenses officially in the score and officially in terms of the quality. Now looking for the flawless rotation to then get them to match point. Locker's CEO going their way. Now open area. That is where they will try to win round 9 and get to that 6-3.
This is, though, usually where we see Crest start to pull it back across the line. It seems like Nip really likes to get to... What?
Yep.
All right. That's definitely not supposed to happen. 30 seconds in, 5 drones gone. We have a Lion dead, too. They decided to go for a rush play here into Kitchen. And, yeah, it works out for him. That dope call is going to make things really difficult audio-wise for yourself. He knows that there has to be some sort of assistance coming in here. Great read by TOP, but I don't know if he gets out. He does. I'm very surprised about that one, but either way, it's going to be a back-and-forth trade in between these two. And honestly, I think Nip won out the engagement.
Probably. I mean, sure, you lose the Legion, who won't have those goo mines generating, but no more E1Ds to help. Crest have the Dokkaebi to rely on, but they were basing the round on that rush very clearly with the call going out the E1Ds. They wanted to make that work, wanted to stake the round on that. Now they've got to rotate and rethink, come up with something different. But the Dokkaebi still got that trade. He made it a 4v4, and Lewis pushing for the 4v3. Oh, but it's a lot of missed shots. Thankfully recovers, but there's Pino to trade. Got the deployable shield staring that way. The Mirror also making this 2 people all holding conference. Have the crossfire established to make this a very difficult part of the map to control for Crest, who now twice now have to back off and reset after they don't get the control or the advantage they needed.
I'm reloading.
Down to 1 singular drone for Crest among these 3. I don't think any of them... Actually, no, it's going to be Serial that has the active drone, more than likely holding a flank or something! Oh, that was so pivotal! Boozy! You disgusting man, you! 2 big kills. Serial can still get it done, though. I mean, there's a minute remaining. He's got 2 frag grenades. It's open area. A lot of different ways that he can sneak through things. And he's Nook, so it doesn't even mean that your info game is going to work out for you if they do have things implemented like those yokais.
And he's the only guy with that drone. I mean, we were talking about 1 drone left. Who's got it? It's Zero, and he just happens to find himself in the 1v2 now after finding that NIP player on the marble staircase. The 2 nades as well. He's running out of time to use them. But NIP were playing close in that crossfire earlier. They've now spread out. He'll send it over to open area. Oh, the Mirror's right there, but it just pops a little too short. He'll try to bank it off. It lands on Boozy. He's made it the 1v1. Will he deny match point? No, he will not. Wizard on the cross. Swings onto the small office. NIP very likely moving to map 3.
Ninjas in pajamas. Wouldn't you know it? Brazilian team finding themselves on bank. Wow, who would have thought? I gotta open the script to the first page. Whoa, it's right there. Ninjas in pajamas, more than likely pushing us onto Skyscraper. And honestly, Carter, I'm here for it. In between these two, I mean, the Japanese team potentially getting sent home on the Japanese map, that would be kind of a cool story too, you know? But here's the other thing. We've been talking back and forth about both of these teams' respective play styles, and we highlighted this a little bit as kind of a teaser going into that last map. Skyscraper is going to be so weird. It's going to be really weird, especially from the offensive perspective. I'm interested to see what both of these teams produce if we do end up getting there. Let's not count Crest too far out of it just yet. We have seen them make some pretty excessive comebacks here in the past, especially on Chalet, obviously. So we'll see if they can potentially force us into overtime as they are looking to go for 3 rounds in a row.
Just the issue right now with Crest, even though it's their map pick, the attacks are not looking as solid as their defenses were on Chalet. That ended up getting them the map 1. The attacking side, they're trying to make this comeback happen on. NIP just look like they have the better defenses. Crest are struggling to clear these positions a lot more than NIP were on their attacking side. They're constantly falling to man disadvantages and relying on huge hero plays to bring them back or even close to a win. TOP on that CEO defense. Zero in that round, making it a 1v1. It's definitely just not a, well, not necessarily not a team effort from Crest, but finding that control, finding that consistency. It's not happening on the bank attacking side right now. And 1 defensive win for NIP, hopefully that tack timeout for Crest. If you want them to make it to phase 2 on 2-0, we'll tell them the solution to get these 3 rounds in a row.
Yeah, I think the best way to put it is that Crest is looking at map control as a team. It's just that some of these more high-flying moments are very individualistic, and that's what you don't want. Carter, if we were in a stack and I was about to do something a little crazy, I would look across at you and go, Carter, I'm about to do something very stupid, and I want you to back me up. And what would you say? I mean, I guess. I suppose. And
do
honestly,
it in the house.
9 times out of 10, those situations work out for you. It's really just about catching your opponent off guard, and as long as you're doing it on a team level, things are A-okay. But this is where things can obviously start to run amok when you start losing people on those individual fights. Have some interesting things coming out here for Crest. Yopi already taking some shots as he's entering this top floor. He's also going to be on the Ying here. Whiskey's going to be in tow to try and assist from stock.
Haven't made a lot of use of that Ying,
wow.
and my no will not make use of her either. A thankful trade to be sure, but one that very much favors NIP. Wizard, if he is a smart man, will have already placed his dreadnoughts. Sure, the codes are lost, but maybe some are activated, but Tiopi certainly could have used those Yings to great effect to force control where Crest have struggled in past attacks. And that won't happen now. Man advantage acquired, thou knows. Zero finds Muzi. 2 players on the open area roam still have not fallen back just yet. But in the 4v3 without that Ying, they might, yep, I was about to say, could start considering a fallback now.
Makes a lot of sense. This is going to be a little bit more difficult now for Nip as the default cameras will be soaked up, so Pino will get rid of that, but Whiskey's going to get rid of Cons. And Crest.
Nobody in sight.
Back against their wall. Oh, walls up. Back against the wall.
There you go.
Couldn't say that one there for a split second, but we got it out eventually. Thank you, sir. Lua. Skeleton Key will start breaking things up for stock. It's going to be Eclair that actually strikes true next. It's just down to Psycho. And Carter, this has just been a groveling session for Nip as they've been constantly put to the sword left, right, and center. No matter what they do in open area, it just doesn't seem right.
It doesn't. Still lose that Ying early on, but Crest are able to find defenders almost entirely around the open area setup. Not really in it as the Castle, the Mira, vibing there pretty much the entirety of the round. But the server stairs players, Muzi roaming around the map, those are all spotted. NIP move into Crest crosshairs, maybe getting a little too zealous. I'm not saying that like specifically one player, just saying possibly got a little too overzealous. And so then once they get that 4v2, Crest are now able to say, all right, we have a minute 30 seconds. You can use this buck, get these positions open, and digest this problem that we're confronted with. So maybe NIP pull things back a little bit now. Don't rotate, don't get nearly as aggressive. Who knows? But they do try lockers again.
I like this. I like this a lot. We did see this build up to a point where Crest was well within their right to have their execute go off and find success, but obviously a big moment there from Nip where they were able to find Khan specifically with big 2K there that took out not only the Blitz, but also the Planner with pretty much a single shot out of the EBR. So see if things end up going that way again. I feel like Crest is more than likely going to slow things down just a tad bit, make sure things are a little bit more synchronized in those moments. The Blitz won't be here to truly mess all the little odds and ends up. But now for Crest, they're out and about on the board. Actually, Zero is going to be bringing the Brava here for some hacking antics.
No Fenrir's to hack, and you can't hack the Goyos, unfortunately, but maybe you can get those Electric Claws to open the hatch a little bit easier. But also, NIP will move to a strat we saw them bring out against Geekay with Psycho on that shield, playing inside of the server position. And that, I think, there was a Monty specifically countering the Clash or trying to deal with the Clash as well, but Psycho will play that spot in the round, and no extended open area setup. This means if Crest realize this, they likely will have, yep, open area free for the taking. Instead, it's server stairs that would be the big problem for Crest to deal with that Warden holding the top of the stairs, but then Psycho as that bridge back to the bomb side, but also as that gate, keeping Crest outside of the dirt hallway.
Yeah, this is one of the more straightforward setups that you can have on the basement. I think the big piece of the puzzle here that you don't see all that often is the laser gates being on the hatches and stuff like that. But that's pretty easily handleable by Brava. The Habana is just going to have to stand close, launch them, stand there until they go off, and then step away. That's the big thing. People forget about that. When you step away from the laser gate, it's going to turn on, and even if it's yours, it's still going to break the piece of equipment. So really have to watch yourself. I tried to tell him. I tried to warn him. But they've got it. He's still got 6 left, too, so he can at least get the hashes. He's already got the far one, too. I was a little worried there for a split second that he didn't have a set on this one, but he does. So they'll...
What?
How did that even happen?
They electroclaw trick it?
They had to have. There's no
did,
way. Yeah, fantastic from Wizard there. Wow, truly impressive. The laser gate's working out. They don't give it enough time. Just trying to beat the timing there. Wow, just so many levels here from Nip in the way that they're playing this.
Now Crest, if they end up needing to go for that drop.
Oh my God.
Wait, what the hell? They're just in vault? Hello? Thatcher pushing up close. Please counter Muzi right here. He'll get the kill. 5v4 now established in the side, but good reaction by Khan. Psycho in the second, takes almost all his bullets, but it works out. Psycho now on low HP, down. Khan's 2, 1 bullet away from death. That's a pickup. Lua, Pino Wizard, only one's left. Zero domes him all the way across the bomb site. Wizard now stuck in gold. He let the Volt Rush happen. Now he's got to save it. Eclair around the corner. Nobody covering. Can he get the kill? No, he cannot. Zero holding it down. Just reacts in time. 1 round away from overtime.
Carter, it was a cruel ploy for Nip to gain confidence. Muzi, thankfully enough, gives him a chance. He's like, wait, is there somebody in? Oh my God, there's 2 people in Gold Vault.
Hey guys, I think there might be some.
Yeah, exactly. 2 people just running through cash and eviscerate not only Muzi, but the entire backbone of the setup. Everyone had to immediately heel turn and understand the full breadth of what Crest was doing. It's 5-6, tactical timeout in, and I do believe that this is, I want to say Nips.
Yes. Oh, it's got to be Nips. I mean, Crest tried to recover earlier. Similar spot. NIP took this timeout at 5-5 on Chalet to try to recover. And man, it didn't work. It didn't work on Chalet. They weren't able to recover that momentum, even with taking a pause, even with going over what they're doing wrong. Crest just need this 1 round to push it to overtime and have a shot at ending this series 2-0. But again, they won the first map. Even if they lose this here, Skyscraper is up next. Crest have at least the freedom to go for some crazy plays, to make some mistakes. It is NIP who, if they want to keep that confidence, keep that security, need to close this out here.
Yes, they do. That's why they called their tac timeout. Had to confirm real quick from our admins. So, yeah, call that tac timeout, and a lot of consideration to be had, because here's the thing. None of these bomb sites really look all that successful. Yeah, they're able to get things going on the basement the last time, and a little bit on this top floor, I'd say, but there is a critical error made by Crest, and it was over inside of lobby. But the craziest thing is even considering that, Carter, they still almost won the round.
10 seconds remaining.
Right? It's insane right now, and truthfully, Nip aren't playing all that poorly right now here on Bank. Crest are playing up to their level. They are playing very well right now, and the way that they're going about things is truly incredible. I especially love that last round. I think that was a highlight of their team play and their ability to change things on a dime and be adaptable in the moment.
They are, and these are the first 2 attacks they've won this half. I mean, with those 2 rounds right there, it was 3-3, NIP went 3 in a row. We're struggling to see momentum gain from Crest. And finally, when they start to get it right, finally when they need to get it right, Crest are landing it. 30 seconds in. It's going to be quiet for a bit, and it's certainly quiet now.
I never noticed that. That book on the shelf in there is Beowulf.
Oh yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't. I don't notice those things. The only thing that I know from like that kind of stuff is that on Cafe, it says R6 drywall on the stack upstairs. That's the only thing I can remember.
Well, if I were a better caster, I'd work in a Beowulf reference here, but I haven't read it, so.
Me neither. Scratch his head. Whiskey is going to be able to get rid of some of the barbed wire here, opening up the potentiality of the sky drop.
Takes down the barbed wire. Can drop down later if they want. NIP are in such a difficult position right now. Even if you want to swing in some situations, you're just so nervous. You don't want to go out this early when there's so much on the line with the results you've had previously. You don't want to be the team that everyone wonders what could have been. Zero's worked his way into the middle floor. Again, this elevated wall has been so difficult. With a K-trick, yeah.
Boop.
He's got it.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and that's why EMPs, specifically Thatchers, EMPs are so incredible. Ever since they put the impacts in, they made his radius very large, and it just goes to show you that went from the ground floor, literal ground floor, all the way up top and was able to get that electro claw. We got Tiopi as well as another down low. Been seeing Finka roll around here, and this is 4 potential kills that they have in their back pockets. First frag out. Moosey's got that hatch open. Cons to take down Whiskey. That's going to be the Rotero wielder. Moosey's going to at least take a little bit of damage from that frag grenade. Another rotation out here from Zero, looking to see if he can try and use his audio to the best of his ability, but can't find much. Now with 45 seconds remaining, Crest, worse for wear as they've lost Whiskey, but we've seen them come back from things like this before.
We have, but there's no solid control for Crest right now. A lot of them still outside the building, Zero inside, but nothing on this top floor. Eclair spots one though, Cons just exposing himself to the stock window. Mira also taking an aggressive stance. Does Tiopi check it? He reacts in time. Moosey cut down, but Tiopi easily traded. Psycho retains control of electrical. Thatcher pushes on in, easily C4'd by Psycho. Zero picked back up, but then down right again by Wizard. Eclair with the diffuser, 1v3. Nip just will close this out. Yes, they will. On bank, Skyscraper still in the cards.